Dystopia warning. What a trio of absolute fucking legends. Now, unless you've been living under a rock for the last couple of days, you'll know all about the BBC's disastrous decision to remove Gary Lineker from Match of the Day. A decision that has backfired spectacularly. They did this because Gary Lineker tweeted criticism of the government's illegal migration bill from his personal Twitter account. A bill that is immeasurably cruel, also illegal, unworkable, designed to scoop up racist votes. Right, Ian Shearer supported him and refused to host Match of the Day. A flurry of other presenters refused to step in. BBC 5 Live presenters stepped down. Football Focus presenters stepped down. The commentators stepped down. It was an impromptu strike, which is pretty much unprecedented. This was all a beautiful example of the Streisand effect. As a consequence of them pulling Lineker from his show, the entire country knows about the bill, knows that national treasures oppose it, and now they also know about the corruption right at the top of the BBC. Lineker isn't the story, he's the scapegoat. They've tried to turn a widely liked, mild-mannered former England striker into the problem. The problem is the government's BNP-style bill, and the problem is the fact that the upper echelons of the BBC is riddled with Tories. They're claiming this is about impartiality. Lineker said this on his private account. It's not like in the middle of Match of the Day, halfway through analysis, he turned around and went, yeah, you know, Saka wasn't at his best, but, Suella Braverman's a proper cunt. If the BBC had bothered about impartiality, then how do they explain Andrew Neil? He was one of the BBC's political presenters for many years. He regularly tweeted right-wing views, showed overt right-wing political bias, and headed a right-wing media organisation. What about Jeremy Clarkson? He said that he wanted striking public sector workers to be shot in front of their families, and he kept his job. Arguably the worst example is Lord Sugar, also a BBC freelancer, presenter of The Apprentice. He tweeted a photoshopped image of Jeremy Corbyn dressed as a Nazi next to fucking Hitler. He was not sacked. Fucking hell. So what's the difference? I'll tell you what the difference is. The first issue for the heads of the BBC is the fact that Gary Lineker is tweeting left-leaning views. It's not that he's expressing a political opinion, it's that he's, in their eyes, tweeting a political opinion that's for the wrong team. And why might this prove problematic for the bosses of the BBC? Let's take a closer look at them, shall we? This is Richard Sharp. I've told you about him before. He's the BBC chair. Whilst being allocated the job by Johnson, he reportedly, allegedly, definitely on purpose, helped Johnson secure an £800,000 loan. He's donated over £400,000 to the Conservative Party and other right-wing organisations. He was Sunak's boss at Goldman Sachs and apparently advised Sunak during the pandemic. Next up, Tim Davie, BBC Director General. He was a Conservative Party candidate and the deputy chair of the Hammersmith and Fulham Conservative Party. He said we should be fighting calmly and rationally for a BBC that champions free speech. He had no experience for this job. Did he get it because he was a Tory? BBC Board Director, Robbie Gibb. He was the former number 10 Communications Director for Theresa May, the co-founder of GB News, and the guy that Emily Maitlis referred to as an active agent of the Conservative Party. He's also an outspoken Brexiteer. The issue isn't impartiality at all, is it? These are the people that are hired to uphold standards, impartiality and political neutrality, and every single one of them is a Conservative. These are the people running the BBC, which is supposed to be an impartial public broadcaster. Look at George Osborne, banker, Chancellor of the Exchequer, went on to work for the Evening Standard, gave Matt Hancock a handy little splash during the pandemic. These people go from jobs in tabloids, then they go on to advise the Conservatives, and then they go back to the media jobs. This is how it fucking works. There's a great quote that I heard the other day from Alistair Campbell. Never be a bystander. Gary Lineker was refusing to be a bystander. He saw something wrong. He called it out. The government's bill is wrong. And it will mean that unaccompanied children, refugees, will be criminalised and deported. And it's on every single one of us now to refuse to be bystanders. We need to take back control of our politics, of our morality, and of our press from Conservative corruption.